Now, Bryce Zabel is somebody who I probably found his speech one of the most interesting. He's one of the most high level people to sort of like speak out on this matter. He's a scriptwriter, he's a filmmaker and scriptwriter, and he's worked very hard on various movies and a TV series or two. He's one of these people when you first read his bio and his CV, you think, oh blimey, he was behind that, because he actually apparently he wrote the script for the Disney's Atlantis movie, which is actually one of the Disney movies. I'm not a fan of the Disney movies really. Most of it's kid stuff, but this is actually one of the more adult ones. Very, very interesting Disney movie. Very, very sort of has a kind of anti-establishment theme to it. Has quite sort of almost a kind of spiritual message to it. It's about these. It doesn't have any animals for a start. All the characters are human, and they go down to the bottom of the sea and underground to try and locate Atlantis, where it's lost. And it turns out that some of the people on the expedition are sort of like grave robbers who steal the city's power source to sell it, and and these good guys have to try and get it back. He's also he wrote the series Dark Skies, which is something I saw a long time ago. Very, very interesting series, sort of conspiratorial, a bit like the X-Files, but it's got a different feel to the X-Files, a different style. Bryce actually spoke up. We met Bryce. I briefly filmed Bryce when we saw him walking the other day with Robbie Graham. That was yesterday. When was it? No, it was Friday. Good, I'm losing track of the days. I bought Bryce Zabel's and Richard Dolan's book, which I'll show you later on when we go through my souvenirs. He spoke up on Friday morning because, like, when Robbie Graham was speaking, one of the delegates actually stood up and made a comment about Zionism, and I've tackled Zionism before, and I agree it's a real issue, but she seems to be one of these people who thinks that basically Zionism is the New World Order and that the Jews are the Illuminati. And we've discussed this before too, and I've explained that this is completely false. But she said something rather silly, like, oh, if you go to the BBC and look at the BBC, they're run by Jews and things like this, and Bryce sort of took a great offence at this, and he stood up and he says, look, I'm Bryce Zabel, I totally disagree with what this lady said, and I'm going to be tackling this issue. Well, he didn't tackle the issue, but I mean, he was obviously, I think maybe he tackled it enough, because he was obviously very offended by this, and I can understand that. I mean, this lady, if I'd have spoken, if I was in my place, I'd have debated with her, but that is silly. I mean, there is no, when the New World Order, when it comes to the New World Order and who's behind it, there's no ethnicity, there's no particular group of people we can point to and say they're the culprits, it's them. No, the New World Order is something entirely different, and the people behind it are not. There's something. We're talking about something completely different here. Now, this led me into the whole issue of disclosure. Bryce was talking about. He made a very interesting speech about what it would be like, what disclosure would be like, what would happen if it took place, how would it be affected, what would it be. It's a kind of future history, really, about things, how it would affect religion, how would it affect culture, politics. Now, as I've said before, I don't think that, I actually seriously doubt anyway that what he is envisioning is actually possible. I don't believe that society actually has the structures to deal with this. I may be wrong. I mean, I'm fascinated by this whole subject, and in a way I hope I am wrong. But I mean, I don't see how we can ever have willing disclosure, quite frankly. Like I say, society, human culture, the human world doesn't have the capacity and the structure to deal with this, and that's deliberate. The Illuminati have created it that way because they know this is a secret they can never reveal. There's some stories too big to be told, as I said when we did that interview in Rich Planet. It's there's really pretty. I mean, this, in a sense, this issue is explored in the Dark Sky series. I think Bryce does seem to have an awareness of the problems involved, and so does Richard Dolan, his co-author. But I just think he underestimates them. Anyways, extremely interesting lecture. He played his disclosure song, Need to Know. I have to look that up. I'd say that Disclosure does have a fourth horseman. There's Greer, Dolan, Bassett, and now we have Zabel as well. So we have, so the four horsemen of Disclosure. So he's a good guy. He signed the book for me and everything. I'll show you all that tomorrow when I go through my souvenirs. And of course the last speaker was Richard Holand, who I discussed last night, who went on till God knows, went on all evening. And amazingly, most of the delegates actually did stay and watched him. So we were very keen to see him to the end. He talked about Elenin, as I explained yesterday. Right, so we better go and get our breakfast and sort of try and get a couple more coffees to wake ourselves up. I'm going to have a lie-in tomorrow morning. There's no doubt about that. See you later.